Mizmor LeDavid. Adonai roi lo echsar. Binot asher bitzeni al menuchot yenachaleni. Nafshi shovev. Yanacheni v'magle tzedek lema'an shemo. Gam ki helech v'geitz al mavet. Lo irara ki atai madi. Shiftecha umishantecha hema yenachamoni. Taroch lefanai shulchan neged tzorirai dishanta vashemen roshi kosirivaya achto v'chesed yirdifuni kol yamechayai v'shaviti b'veit Adonai le'orech yamim. Friends, I've chanted for you the words of our 23rd Psalm. When our hearts are breaking and when we are in need of comfort and strength, we often turn to the psalmist, and so I ask you now to recite these words with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember him. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember him. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember him. In the blueness of sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember him. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember him. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember him. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember him. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember him. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember him. So long as we live, he too will live, for he is now a part of us as we remember Harold Pickell. To you, Gilda, to his children, Cindy and Frank, also to Bruce, and to his grandchildren, Adam, Chad, and Kyle, and also to Kim, Danielle, and Elizabeth, to his great-grandchild, Joey, and today we also remember his son, Johnny, of blessed memory, and to all the members of the family and so many dear and cherished friends, we've come together today to remember and also to celebrate the life of your beloved Harold. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, from childhood to maturity and from youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then, perhaps, to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat, to defeat, until looking backward or ahead we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. Harold's journey began here in Cleveland. He was born in 1922 to his Hungarian immigrant parents, Frank and Rose Pickell. Harold was the youngest of the children. He and his siblings, Edith, Meyer, and Sanford, all of blessed memory, they made their first home in the Kinsman area before moving to Renrock Road in Cleveland Heights. Harold's father provided for his family by operating a saloon in Cleveland down in the flats, and sometimes he even engaged in some bootlegging on the side. And Harold's mother was a homemaker, and he would reminisce throughout his years as to the closeness that he shared, the sweet relationship he had with his mom, who he adored. In discussing Harold's educational journey, it was you, Frank, that said your father was a Rhodes Scholar, meaning that while your dad didn't spend as much time in the classroom as others, you said he had street-smart cred and therefore was a Rhodes Scholar. And at 20 years old, your dad and a buddy enlisted in the United States Air Force. He was stationed in San Diego and in Iceland during World War II. And after the war ended, Harold returned home and entered into the family business of running a restaurant and bar. The establishment was known as Schulte's. It was well known and loved by many for all of their menu and their atmosphere, but especially for their delicious beef and coleslaw. Now, in 1953, the young and beautiful Gilda Newman of New York was vacationing with her parents in Miami, Florida, at the Eden Rock Hotel. And Harold also happened to be vacationing at this hotel the very same week. Gilda, you remember keeping your mom company on this particular afternoon, poolside, underneath a cabana. Mom was playing cards with some of her girlfriends, and you were sitting right next to her, when all of a sudden a waiter came by bringing you a milkshake and a sandwich. And you exclaimed, "I didn't order this." And when he pointed to some man across the way saying he sent it over, you very sweetly instructed the waiter, "Well, then take it to him." So while you ended up declining the gesture, somehow an introduction occurred, and between the introduction and some obvious flirtation, Harold decided to throw you into the pool. A couple of nights later, Harold asked you out for your first date. And on this date, he proposed. And of course, wisely, you said no. But a long-distance relationship began between New York and Cleveland. Telephone calls and some visits, and finally, after a 6-month courtship, you finally accepted his proposal of marriage. You were married on March 7th, 1954 at Park Synagogue, and then Harold whisked you away on a month-long honeymoon. And just 9 months after that honeymoon, in December of 1954, your daughter Cindy was born. A few years later, 1957, Frank entered into this world, and then Johnny in 1962, completing the Pickell family portrait. Your family made their home on Summerfield and University Heights. Now, as a couple, Gilda and Harold, or Pickles, as many of you would call him, Gilda and Harold would enjoy the company of a great group of friends. Their neighbors on the street became dear and trusted friends. Gilda, you and Harold loved to go out. Dining out with your friends was something that was a favorite pastime of yours, but you also enjoyed having them over for many a Sunday dinner, and they all enjoyed your amazing cooking. You and your beloved Harold enjoyed going to the movies. You enjoyed traveling. You were fortunate to share cruises together, trips to New York and California. And at this time, Harold owned and operated an establishment known as the Punch and Judy's nightclub. It was at Shaker Square, and he operated this restaurant, this nightclub, for many years. We know that he was a hard-working man, and this was a very demanding profession. And when he finally decided to sell the restaurant, he opened another bar in University Heights, known simply as Pickell's. This had a brief existence, but after this he decided a change was in need, and he moved from the food and beverage industry into the business of steel. And this was here in the steel business that Harold stayed until the time of his retirement. Gilda, somewhere around 1985, you and Harold began wintering, as we would say, snowbirds, in Florida. You enjoyed it. You enjoyed the weather, of course, the surroundings, the new friends you made. And after about 10 years of spending your winters in Florida, you moved permanently to Boca Raton in 1995. You described to me what seems to be a very enjoyable and fulfilling life there at the Boca West Country Club, a place where Harold spent a lot of time playing cards. His game was gin rummy. He had his card group here in Cleveland and, of course, down in Florida. And for Harold, gambling was a fun pastime. I'm sure at times an aggravating pastime. But he loved it, and he especially loved betting on football and basketball games. Cindy, the words you chose to describe your dad, which of course your brother Frank wholeheartedly agreed. You said he was kind-hearted, he was sweet, and if somebody needed him, he was there. If his buddy, a relative, a friend, if somebody needed to get to a doctor's appointment, Harold would take them. If, God forbid, they needed to go to the hospital, he would take them, and if they needed to visit somebody, a loved one that was in the hospital, he would take them. In recent years, down in Florida, he could be the man seen strolling outside, picking up the newspaper on the sidewalk and walking it up to his neighbor's door. He liked to do these little random acts of kindness. And Cindy, you said that you adored him, and you could feel that he adored you as well. Frank and Cindy, your dad was notorious for talking to strangers. He could start up a conversation with anyone, anywhere. The flight attendant, the parking lot attendant, a waiter. He had this magnetic personality and a great sense of humor. He could talk to everyone and joked with everyone, and people loved him for that. And Frank, I have to say that you living in Florida these past 10 months, this is a very special example that you demonstrate to all of us. And you made certain that your dad's last months were comfortable and that he lived them out with dignity. This is a great gift for a child to give to a parent. His grandsons, they remember their visits to Florida, and they remember a grandpa who was funny, who could be a jokester, and for some strange reason, they remember a grandpa who did not like to wear socks. Memories of hanging out with your grandfather in Florida, memories of having him wake you up in the morning to take you to Tim Hortons for donuts, with you wearing only your pajamas. These are sweet memories that I hope will stay with you for your long life as well. In his 94 years, Harold was blessed with a beautiful partner, his wife of 62 years, his very devoted Gilda. He was blessed with his children, with grandchildren, and he even was able to know the blessing of having a great-grandchild, his little Joey. And so today we join with the sages of our people as we declare Zichron Livrach. May the memory of Harold Pickell always be for a blessing. Amen. When I come to the end of the road, and the sun has set for me, I want no rites in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not too long, and not with your head bowed low. Remember the love that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this is a journey that we all must take, and each must go alone. It's all a part of the Master's plan, a sense, a step on the road to home. When you are lonely and sick at heart, go to the friends we knew, and bury your sorrows in doing good deeds. miss me, but let me go. As you are able, I invite you to rise for the memorial prayer, El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, Shochein Bamramim, Amsei Menocha Nechona Tachat Kanfecha Shchina, B'malot Kedoshim Utorim, Kezochar Arakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Yakirenu, Shahalach Le'olamo Began Eden, Tehei Menuchato. Ahna Bal Harachamim Astirehu, B'seter Knafecha Le'olamim, V'titzror B'trarachayim Et Nishmato. Adonai Hu Nachalato, V'yanuach B'shalom, Al Mishkavo V'nomar. Amen. O merciful God, who dwells on high, who is full of compassion, grant perfect rest beneath the shelter of your divine presence among the holy and pure, who shine as the brightness of the firmament. To our dear departed Harold Pickell, who has gone now to his eternal home, may his soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life, and grant that his memory inspire us to noble and consecrated living. And to this we say, Amen. Please be seated. Just a couple brief announcements to share with you. Our service of memory will continue at the Mount Olive Cemetery, and following the interment, the family will receive visitors at Landerhaven, and they'll be receiving visitors until 5 p.m. this afternoon. On behalf of Gilda, Frank, Cindy, and the entire family, we thank you for your love and your support on this very important and sad day.